Hi everybody and welcome. My name is Stuart Haden, founder of Storm Beach, specialising in authentic leadership. I'm a coach, facilitator, consultant, speaker and author of this book. It's Not About the Coach, which is the focus of today's short video, where I'll do a reading from chapter 2, which is around change. So this is for coachees considering their different possibilities fairly early on in the relationship of coaching, fairly early on in the project or engagement or season, whatever context you're coming from. And fundamentally it's how well you respond to change and how well you initiate change. Okay, so let me go into a short reading and then we'll break it down a bit further. So this is chapter 2 and the title of this chapter is Ebb and Flow. Like many things in life, coaching comes and goes. Sometimes we need to engage with the coach, sometimes we need a break. It's time to withdraw. Sometimes learning will simply come from other sources. I didn't share my next passage of learning with any individual in particular. Instead, my companion and teacher would be the environment. I grew up in Swansea, South Wales. Another clue in the name. My hometown is on the coast, and in my teenage years I enjoyed fantastic summers down on the beach with my family in a semi-permanent tent. Just 3 levels of beach hierarchy: huts, tents and towels. I was proud that we sat in the middle, never looking up or never looking down in pity. At the start of each summer we would spend the whole day constructing our beach home. It was a mark in the season that I would look forward to with great anticipation. Wafts of smelly canvas and gas burners would soon dissipate as the salty sea air took hold. Hours were spent learning to surf, exploring the cliffs and playing in the sand. The coastline and its inhabitants helped me to learn how to change. I have to learn why to change in later life. But for now, I was armed with some basic principles. So, possibilities, this phase of being a coachee is about possibilities and what's your story. And that's just my story. It's a part of my story, those early years spent down on the beach. And I just encourage you to find your own story, but in this case it's about change. And for me that was around wanting and waiting and needing and doing everything I could to get to that change, which was the change in seasons, the change in the weather, the change in lifestyle and what you did outside of school or whatever I was doing at the time. That's what I look forward to, and fundamentally I guess part of me is pretty good with change, anticipates change. Therefore, in coaching, because coaching fundamentally is about change, then I think I can deal quite well with that. But I would also say quite a lot of that is learned. Some things I'm great with change, but some things I really have to learn to change. The point is, change is a learned behaviour. So whatever your story is, because people have got stories where they haven't dealt well with change. That's fine, but you can learn to deal with that. A brilliant story, I met someone that I was coaching and she said change, not a problem. She was an expert in change. And we started discussing and talking. And the reason why she felt, this was her story, remember, was that she was Australian. That's not why she was good with change. She was Australian and her father worked in the mining community. So the mining communities in Australia that her father worked at would be set up, they'd work there for X amount of years, flatten it, nothing would be left, move on, move on, move on. So she said, we were moving and changing all the time, and actually there wasn't even anything to look back at now. She couldn't even find the houses she was brought up in or where she stayed or the schools, because they don't exist, they were just flattened, there was nothing there was no real infrastructure. So there was no legacy, it was just change, transient. She obviously now, lives and works in the UK, so she's happy enough to change a hemisphere as well. So it does depend a bit on your story, but really, ebb and flow. And I'm here at Storm Beach today, you can hear the ebb and flow over there of the sea, but what's moving and changing? How are you doing in terms of keeping up with it, anticipating it? And it is a massive part of being a coachee. Step 1 I talked about before is about being authentic. This is step 2, chapter 2, which is about that change, and they're very, very early on, quite challenging. But if you can start to nail that change and be up for that personal change, the change of people around you or the organisation or the team or whatever's going on, then that will serve you really well as a coachee. So good luck with that.